again and welcome back. My name's Annie and this is my creative detour. Today is Full Deck Challenge Day again and we're up to card number 39. The prompt is star. So for those of you that are new, welcome to the channel and thanks for stopping by. I hope you enjoy my card on star today. And for my regulars, hi again. Thank you for all of your encouragement and for leaving such lovely comments and for coming back. Now, this one, I wanted to do something that was not obvious or a little bit slightly left of center. So for the Full Deck Challenge, it's ran by Shana from ShanoukiArt, and I will link her below. Shana leaves us a prompt each week that we have to do on our upcoming card. And we have to also carry over something from last week's card and we have to put on our constant. So my constant is paint swatches, and you can see on last week's card, which was chaos, I did some die cut hearts out of paint swatch. And I have to carry something over from this card onto today's card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to carry over the black label. It's obviously going to say something else. And it's a Tim Holtz small talk sentiment, and I'm going to bring a small talk sentiment over today. So let's pop that to the side and get set up, and I'll show you what we're working on. So the card that I've pulled for today is the 5 of diamonds. And I pulled the 5 of diamonds because I'm going to be using 5 pointed stars. And you can see that I have prepped my card a little bit. I have already put some shells on the back and dated it. And today's date is the 9th of October. And I have put some tissue paper over the top just to pull the color back on the 5 of diamonds. And I glued that tissue paper down with Mod Podge, and it's just normal tissue paper, like gift wrapping tissue paper. And then I've also put over a little bit of white gesso just to pull the rest of the color back. Now on my tray here, you can see that I have starfish. So I'm going to be doing a seascaped theme today, a little bit of a scenery, and I'm going to be using some starfish. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to put a little bit of texture paste down using a stencil and dry that off, and then we'll pop in some colored ink, some acrylic ink. So I've got some ultramarine here, and I've also got some Viridian. So we'll drop a little bit of that on as well. So let's start with our texture paste. I'm going to use a stencil from Stampers Anonymous, and the name of the stencil is Burlap. So I'm going to use that. And I'm just going to put a little bit of textured paste on, just randomly. I'm not going to overthink it too much because a lot of it's actually going to be covered up, to be honest, with the coral and the starfish. But I wanted to just have it in the background, mainly for putting the acrylic ink on so that the ink moves around the surface. All right, I'll just dry that off with my heat tool. Okay, that's dried off now. So I'm going to put on some acrylic ink now, and I have these ones out. These are acrylic ink set from Kmart. They're an Anko brand, and they're super cheap. Kmart here in Australia sell them. The colors of this one are what I'm after today, because obviously I'm doing a little bit of a underwater scene. So I'm just going to put a little bit, drip a bit on, and then spritz it with my spritzer. Let's dry that off. I'm liking the colors of that. Okay, I've dried that off and I'm happy with how that turned out. It's got a nice blue and tealy sort of colour on it. Now let's pull in some of our ephemera. Okay, so I've got some images here of coral and of starfish, and I got them online. I had a bit of a look through my Collage soup digitals and my other uh, images that I have and books and that, and I didn't really have what I was after. So I went to, the website's called Raw Pixel, raw as in RAW, so Raw Pixel, and you've got to create a subscription. You've got to sign into the website and you've got to create a login. It doesn't cost anything for you to do that. However, if you do want to buy a membership, that gives you more rights for more images. But I just always pick the public domain images and put in something that I'm looking for and find some public domain images, because then they're free for everybody to use. And I usually only go there when I can't find something of my own. But yeah, it's a good resource for if you're stuck. Now I'm going to glue some of these down. I've got some coral and I'm just going to create a little bit of a story here of some stars, and I have to put on some paint swatch, and you can see that I've torn off a piece of paint swatch and it's called balsa stone. So I'd like to use that. I think that I'll just tear it a little bit smaller down the bottom, and I want to keep the name on it. Actually, I like the name down there. And I'm just going to position some of these. I want the blue to peek through. Don't want the blue to be completely covered. I think I'll ink in frayed burlap today. Yes, I was thinking I wanted to do something a little bit different than stars, astrological stars or anything like that. And it was my granddaughter that actually prompted my thought about starfish. Where my thought came from was when I was a little girl like her, my grandmother used to take my brother and I on school holidays, and we used to go to the Central Coast. Now, the Central Coast, for those of you that don't know the area, it's in between Newcastle and Sydney. So it's about an hour's drive north of Sydney. And we used to catch the train there and we would stay for, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 days on the Central Coast. And sometimes we'd go to the water, we'd catch a train, we'd go to the water, and we would look around the water's edge and play and do what kids do. I remember whenever we used to look at rock pools at the beach, I used to love seeing starfish. I loved it. And you know that song that says, when you wish upon a star? That one. I think it's something to do with Disneyland or something. Not sure. But when you wish upon a star, that song reminded me about how when you see a star, you make a wish on it. Well, when I see a starfish in a rock pool, I always make a wish. Now, I don't know where that thought came from, and it must have been somewhere in my upbringing on my holidays, or I really don't know. I don't know whether I saw it on TV when I was younger, or no idea. But to this day, if I see a starfish in a rock pool, I always make a wish upon it. And it could be from when my grandmother, my Nanna, used to take my brother and I on holidays. I don't know. I can't remember. Okay, you can see that while I've been chatting, I've just been pottering away, putting this together. The back's a bit of a mess, but I'm okay about that. I think I'm going to put a big starfish on the back of it. probably shouldn't have done the back until I'd put the ink on the front, but I didn't want the video to go too long. Alright, we've got that on. You can see that I have put some coral on, or some seaweed really, some seaweed, and then my paint swatch. Now I'm just going to position these, and I want to make sure that some of that blue is just peeking through in different locations. Yes, that looks nice. I have a little bit of this. I'm not sure whether I want cheesecloth. I have a little piece of leftover mesh that I used on my last video. And I kind of like it. It looks a little bit like netting, doesn't it? Alright, I think I like that better than the cheesecloth. Yeah, that's pretty cute there. Try and keep some of those blue bits. Yes, okay, let's do that. Let's glue a few things down. So we really want those two to glue together. Yes, so that's where I got my inspiration from for this, the whole wishing upon a star. For me, it also was prompting my memories of going and looking at rock pools when I was younger. And if I saw a starfish, I'd make a wish. It's pretty cute, isn't it? I haven't done that with my grandkids. I think I might need to carry that one over. Not sure if that's a leftover from my Nanna. If it is, Mum, let me know, because I'd like to carry that one on if it is from Nanna. Keep saying this week after week. I'm running a little bit behind with my full deck challenge. I'm only just skirting the edge of keeping in front of Shana before she posts the following week, but I've been working a lot, so it has to happen when I can do it. But I may be able to get a few things done in the coming week or so. Okay, I've just let that dry a little bit. It's not fully set, but let's tuck in a couple more of these starfish. I'll pop one down in here somewhere. Yeah, that looks pretty cute in there. We'll stick this one over here with a lot of glue on it because that fibre is definitely wanting to lift. So we'll squeeze it underneath the starfish here. Hold it. It's nice putting a little bit of texture on, isn't it? Yes, so hopefully some of you that didn't know about Raw Pixel will be able to add that to your resources of being able to find images for collage. Lots of things have got licenses on them and copyright issues. You can't use them. And that's why I tend to stick just to the public domain images. So I use the public domain filter. You can put that in the filter and you just select public domain images within that topic that you're searching. So what I have here is a sentiment, and I needed to carry something over, so I'm going to carry over the sentiment. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick it down here, and it says, collect beautiful moments. It's definitely a beautiful moment when you're wandering around the beach and you're looking at rock pools and you spot some starfish. It's exciting. You go, oh, wow, look, there's a starfish. And for some of us, we don't get to the beach to look at rock pools very often. Others out there may get there more often. And if you do, lucky you. For the rest of us, it's pretty special. So when I see a starfish, it is a beautiful moment. And I make a wish when I see it. Now, What I also have here are some of those embellishments that I make out of jump rings. And you can see that I made some stars. I made these weeks ago actually. There's some here, you can see them on my tray. And I'm just thinking that I might put one on over here on the center of this starfish. Here's got a circle on it. And I'm thinking that I might put it on there because then that might be something that I want to carry over next week. So let's do that. Let's pop one of them on. I don't know whether I want one or two. I think I'm going to put two on. I think I'm going to put one down here with star on down near the word moments. Just in here. I'm also just going to quickly flick a few white splatters onto it because it just needs a little bit of a lift. All right, let's clear the decks, dry this off, and we'll have a look at the card. Okay, I've just fussy cut out another starfish because the back of the card looks a little bit average, to be honest. So I thought if I put a starfish on the back of it, the blue edges might look less of a mistake and more purposeful. Let's stick on a starfish. All right, let's have a look at our card. So here's our starfish, and we have 5 pointed starfish with some coral and some seaweed in the background. And we've got collect beautiful moments, and it's definitely a beautiful moment when you see some starfish in a rock pool. And like I said, I always make a wish on them. And then on the back we've got today's date, which is the 9th of October, and I put another starfish. So let's add that one to our family. There we go. That was a fun card today. I enjoyed doing that. And yeah, have a look at Raw Pixel, and if it helps you out, leave me a comment below. That'd be great. Okay, that's all for me today. Thank you very much for joining me. If you enjoyed the video today on the prompt stars and my card on stars, give me a thumbs up. That would be wonderful. And think about subscribing to the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and I will see you all very soon with another project. Bye for now.